Hey, it's me, Noah. Yes, that's my real name. Please don't look it up. Guys, I have been on this ark for 40 days and 40 nights. The animals and I have been playing hide and seek non-stop. Thankfully, the flood has finally subsided. Now that the ark has landed and all of humanity and wildlife has been wiped from the face of the earth besides me, my family, and all of the animals on the ark, I think the only reasonable thing to do would be to have all of the animals race. Hopefully my sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth don't get up to any wacky shenanigans like throwing explosive barrels and fireworks. Well, guess I'll go get the cannons ready. What a weird dream. In my dream, I play this absurd racing game about Noah and the animals, like, racing or something. And then suddenly, I became Noah and made all the animals race for, like, no reason. Good thing that was just a dream. I can't imagine such an absurd concept for a game existing. Where did this shirt come from? All good things need a sequel. Sure, one Toy Story was good, but we needed 3 more. Only one Half-Life game? Nah, we need a sequel. Then a sequel to the sequel. Then a sequel to the sequel that ends on a cliffhanger that still hasn't reached a satisfying conclusion for well over 10 years. And then a prequel to all those games to undo the cliffhanger at the end of the sequel. One Fallout game? Nah, here's the 76th one. There's not a lot Cougar Interactive could do with a sequel to the critically acclaimed Noah's Adventures 2004 PC, but despite all the odds, they managed to find a new and exciting path for the series to take. Racing. How do you take a story like Noah about the world being flooded and all of humanity being wiped out besides one family and a bunch of animals and turn it into a racing game? Boat racing? No, silly, animal racing. The story goes that after the flood, Noah and all the animals decided to host the race games of celebration. And that's all the game seems to have story-wise. That is until you go to the official YouTube channel for Cougar Interactive and find this video, the Zoo Race game story. Now, how would you know to go to the official YouTube channel for Cougar Interactive in order to find this video containing essential information for the plot of the game? Well, Ruben is this guy who really likes the story of Noah, and Hannah is this evil atheist stereotype that can't believe Ruben believes the story of Noah is true.
Hi, Ruben. May I ask, what book are you reading?
Oh, hi, Hannah. Yes, it's a book about Noah's Ark.
Ruben, do you actually believe in the Bible story of Noah's Ark?
Well, yes, I do. I believe in what it says.
Oh, okay then. Ruben.
Yes, Hannah?
As the head librarian here, I must recommend for you to read perhaps some more informative books.
No, Hannah. I like books about animals. Those other books are boring to me.
Also, Ruben talks about his fan fiction where all the animals have a big race after the ark lands, but again, Hannah thinks it's ridiculous.
Do you think that Noah had any creature races in those days after the world flood? I mean, did Noah play and have fun with the animals with racing games?
I think that maybe you read too many books, Ruben. Imagine that. Racing games. You have too much imagination, Ruben.
So then Hannah and Ruben turn into animals and join the story of Noah. That is literally what happens. And it is much weirder than I made it sound.
Come on, Hannah. Let's race. You and me, let's race. Let's have some fun. Just around the library. I'll race you, Hannah.
How could I ever race? I mean, I'm very small and so very thin and, I don't feel like I can race and I don't feel very well. Ugh. I'm a horse now. And you, Ruben? You're a rhinoceros!
Hey man, how's it going? Dude, I'm filming a video. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to ask you a question real quick. Okay? Do you think that after the worldwide flood, Noah and the
animals
did like races and stuff? I don't think? Because I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, they did, like, races and stuff? I mean, I guess? Ugh. I don't feel good all of the sudden. Are you good there? Dude, you're a horse. So that's the context of this game. I think this cutscene is supposed to be a dream that Hannah is having. In the description of the video itself, it says Hannah was dreaming. But if you didn't know this cutscene existed, you'd think the game was just following the canonical story of Noah and embellishing the ending a little. Either way, that's enough backstory. I really don't like this menu. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine. It gives you all the options, there's a dancing pig, fairly standard stuff. My biggest issue with the menu is Noah and his sons. Just the way Shem, Ham, and Japheth are walking is giving me really bad flashbacks. It looks like there's only one racing mode in this game, so let's look at the other options first. I wonder what Creature Party is. Looks like there's a bunch of different song titles, I guess? Maybe it's like the music section from the first game? So, I guess it's a party, but a very creepy looking party. You can click on the animals and watch them dance. At least I think this is something you could probably call dancing. Wow, we're only a few minutes into the game and I can say with full confidence that I finally understand what it feels like to be high. Dude, could you at least knock before bursting in? What? There's a section that explains the controls, which also coincidentally enough gives sound options. I feel like adding an extra section specifically for audio settings would have made more sense, but I can barely throw together a functional game in RPG Maker, so I probably shouldn't be complaining about the sound options being next to the controls. Finally, we have the credits. I must say, Cougar Interactive definitely upgraded the credits this time around. In the first game, the credits floated the wrong way and looked kinda off, but this time they actually look like normal credits. Great job, Cougar. Well, I guess it's time to start playing the actual game. First off, I've got to select one of the animals to race as. We've got Hannah the horse, a teacher, apparently. Kane the cougar, our resident adventurer. Reuben the rhino, he's a Viking because why not? Priscilla the pig, she's the entertainer, because her top hat, I guess. Seth the sheep, the swim champion. Bethany the bear, she's courageous. I mean, I guess she'd have to be courageous to be wearing such a stupid hat. That was pretty mean. I'm really sorry, Bethany the bear. Please forgive me. Gad the goat, he's a warrior, and Tamara the tiger, who is lovely. You can check the stats for the different racers, their skills ranging from poor to average to good to excellent. Spoiler alert, there is barely a difference between the way any of them control. Next up, I have to select a racetrack. All of these racetracks are named after one of the animals, which is pretty cool. I'm honestly terrified to play Bethany's blaster. I don't know, that just That just doesn't sound like a pleasant experience. Finally, the difficulty. I'm kind of a gamer, so of course I have to select the hardest difficulty to prove I'm not a wuss. Now it's time to start the race.
Ready, set, go.
Okay, so I have a few questions. I guess I'll talk about the controls first. You move around with the arrow keys and you can jump with the control key. Or you can use the mouse to look around and move forward by holding the left mouse button and jumping with the right mouse button. You can also use F1 to toggle between first and third person mode, but first person mode is kind of a nightmare to look at, so I'd advise not doing that. One of the things I find odd about the controls is the physics of jumping. In Noah's Adventures 2004 PC, you could easily build up speed by constantly holding the jump button, which was perfect for speedrunners who want to beat that game as quickly as possible. However, in a racing game, it seems a little unfair to give the player a chance to zoom ahead of the competition by building up speed like that. While thankfully, Cougar Interactive added in a built-in game mechanic to make it harder for players to destroy the competition by abusing the jump button. You see, there are certain spots you can sneak past the invisible walls on the side of the course, which cause you to get stuck and not be able to finish the race. This is definitely an intentional feature of the game. It's definitely not an accidental glitch the developer didn't patch. I ended up glitching out of the course on 2 separate tracks. If this game wasn't a free download, I'd be demanding my money back. I mean, what company releases a game without making sure there's absolutely no bugs in it whatsoever? Okay, so the game is a little buggy. What is racing actually like in this game? Well, you run forward. Just run through the racetrack and turn. And then there's some food on the ground, which makes the animal who ate it go faster. There's obstacles like exploding barrels and traffic cones and elephant stampedes. Just your typical Bible stuff. The racetracks all feel similar. I mean, they each have different obstacles, but the locations all feel kind of samey. The one standout level in this game I'd say is Seth's Safari, and the only reason it feels distinct to me is the red haze in the sky that reminds me of the Nether in Minecraft. Also this train. Actually, I take that back. Bethany's Blaster is probably the most standout level in the game, not just because the name sounds like Bethany had some nasty tacos. Yeah, that happened. The graphics aren't terrible. If anything, they look better than Noah's Adventures 2004 PC. However, what I would consider to be the weakest part of this game is the music. I thought the music from the first game wasn't terrible. They were instrumental hymns done in a style that reminded me of old edutainment games from the 90s, which is good. But this music just doesn't fit with what's going on during the races. There's just something odd about hearing cheesy CCM praise music and watching a pig squeal in pain while ramming into obstacles. If the music had just been instrumental like Noah's Adventures 2004 PC, I think it would have been fine. But it's not, so it's not. One last thing, God is the race commentator.
At the start, it's Gad the goat, followed by Priscilla the pig.
I don't want to think that the developer had any intention of coming across as sacrilegious, but from the perspective of a Christian, I think that's really sacrilegious. Again, I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but that is definitely how it comes across. After each race, this happens. Oh boy, he's running. He's sure going there, isn't he? Wow, look at him running. He's really going. Now he's waddling. And now there's a dancing rhino and fireworks. And now there's Bible verses. Well, I don't have much more to say besides, that was weird. Here's the thing. I think this game is kind of a mess. As a racing game, it's not great. As a Christian game, it's kind of sacrilegious and turns the story of Noah, a story about mankind becoming so evil and disgusting and horrible, and turns it into a silly little game with talking animals that dance around. To top it all off, it's broken and it has game-breaking bugs. I've played around with game design in the past, and even the simplest programs for making games aren't the easiest to understand. Honestly, it's a miracle that any indie game has ever been made. I've been pretty critical of this game, but it's still an experience. It's entertaining, it's weird, it's goofy, and if you ignore the context of the biblical story of Noah and remember that apparently this game is just a dream in the mind of a woman named Hannah, it's pretty fun. It's one of those special pieces of media, the kind you enjoy because it's deeply flawed, the kind that are so bad they're good. You enjoy it because the person meant well, not because the product was actually good. The Zoo Race is technically a bad game, but it's a fun experience. Now that I've finished the Noah's Adventure series, I'm kind of in the mood for something a bit more professionally made. Maybe an old licensed movie game from the early 2000s? Really wish people would stop barging in without knocking.
I missed the part where that's my problem.